Hello,
Hello,
this
this
is
is TryOut,
my name is John Philip Encarnacion,
and I'm Alexis Volca.
and we are going to explain about the program.
Hello, I'm John Philip Encarnacion, and I'm going to discuss the macros we have defined in the game in our program. First, we have CLS here, which clears the screen using interrupt on each and service function 6. Next, set video mode. Before drawing some pixels, we call this macro. So next, set px. We have three parameters: x, y, color. Using 10h. We call this every time we draw some elements on the screen. Set cursor position, macro x and y parameter. Next, write string. We have 5 parameters here: the string, the length of the string, the coordinates x, y, and the color. Using 10h, interrupt 10h, and service function 13h. Next, we have write car here. The first write car, we have two write cars here. The first write car has only one parameter, which prints only one character on the screen, and the second write car actually prints whatever or how many you want. That's why we have three parameters here: the car, the numbered car, and the color. Next is the custom delay. This is the most useful macro here, because we use this to set delays or sleep. If you know, in C++ we imitate that function, custom delay with parameter cd speed here. As you notice, we use interrupt 1ah, service function 0h. This gets the system time of the machine. Then we use a variable cd speed. Then it compares dx wait time. Dx is the destination of the lower order of the minutes and seconds. Then if it's below, just jump again to delay C. Then get keyboard buff, read keyboard buff. This actually clears a keyboard buffer. And then um, we add certain amount to the dx so that it will terminate this delay. Then we can call any function we want after the delay. Next, draw custom macro. We have 4 parameters here: the color, the line, the upper left coordinate, and the lower right coordinate, using interrupt 10h, service function 7h. Next, draw each bar. It uses set px. It draws horizontal bar on the screen, and this draw v bar, which draws vertical bar on the screen. We use this to draw some pixels and design the interface. Next, draw blank screen. It uses CLS that clears the screen, and we apply some color or background color and some horizontal bars on the screen. So as you can see here, on our game. Okay. Um, okay. Here's the main screen, and as you can see, we have designs. This on the top and the bottom is actually the draw H bars here. And next, hide mouse, show mouse, and reset mouse macros, which uses interrupt 33h. And then next, get keyboard buff and read keyboard buff macro. It uses interrupt 16H and service function 1H for getting the keyboard buffer, and the service function 0 for reading the keyboard buffer. Then for file operations, we use open file macro, read file macro, close file macro, and create file macro. And then also write into file macro. Next, out hex to BCD macro. It actually converts hex to BCD and then it outputs in the screen. Next, get rand. Use this to generate random number, specifically 1, 2, 3, and 4 for randomness of the arrows that being displayed in the screen. Next, and program macro. We call this when we want to terminate the program. Okay.
I'm Alexis Kaabay and I will discuss the code of our game TryOut. First, I will discuss the main screen, how it is created. First is the data. The X car and V car is used for this part of the main screen. As you can see, the X car is this one. You could view it as the TryOut text here, the pixels. Next are other part of the main screen, and later the other part of the when you navigate through the game. For example, this one that use difficulty. The STR guide 1, STR guide 2, and so on is used for the game guide part here. This is for the game guide part as well. The STR poor, STR good, so on is whenever you finish the game or going up another level. Please enter your name is set. STR your name is for setting your name in the top 10 score. So, easy file name dve.to is the one that saves this is where the save file for the top 10 scores for the easy, normal, hard, and hell. At the very beginning, this contains 0 data because there are not yet saved scores for the following difficulty. Next is the start select. The arrow order is for the inside the game. When you play it, this will set the order of the arrows given, which is randomized. Next is the arrow color, which is inside the game, equal 018H for gray, yellow, so on. This will define the color of all the pixels inside which is used. Next is the is height multiplier db0. When it is hit, when the correct arrow is clicked, 1 is equal to true, and if not, 0 is equal to false. The val multiplier dv1 is for the multiplier of the score, which is only 2. For normal, 1x, and if you hit the space bar before finishing, before the time finishes, it will be 2x score. Complement dv is for the complement for finishing the game. Please hover db, which is when your mouse is hovered from a certain space of the pixel. This data is used for it. Next is the t-speed, tw, double word 1. It's the speed multiplier for all, smoothness of animation, and how it is. Temp score data is for the temporary storage for score to be added to total score. Level count is for the increments as player accomplishes levels. It always starts at 0 until and it will increment +1 until the player lost. The score will be saved first at hexadecimal, but it will be converted late in the to BCD for it can be viewed later. So our order game is the DV1 for 7, 10, 13, 16, 18, 22, 25, 28 is the horizontal coordinates for the 10 arrows, which is given at the start and for the next level and so on. Top 0 to top 9 is the storage for the top 10 scores, which is listed in the scoreboard. Next is for the var score hex for the storage for top 0 score in hex, storage for top 1 score in hex, storage for top 2 score in hex, and so on. Next, I will discuss the code. It's the main procedure. This initialized at DS and VS. The reset mouse will reset mouse info and position it before starting. The call draw main will call the main screen, which is the first one which will be viewed in the game or in the program. The call anime is this part of the program, the game, the animation. The color changes, which is randomized. The loop main proc, which is from here to here, is the loop function for the overall mouse operation and animation. So the get mouse click main is for whenever you click, this will get the mouse click info. For example, when you click the game guide, and so on. It produces the time and produce short delay. Next is the draw main proc. This one will draw the GUI of the main. Move CX8 until move CI0. The clear PL name is for the player name and its store level and its scores. Clearest level, move AX2020H. Move word PTRPX plus CIAX is for the clearest level. Move level count, which is always initialized at 1, 0. Move total score for the initialization of the total score, which is from 0 temporal scores from 0, from depending if it is for the next level over for set video mode, hide mouse, and draw blank screen is the macro, which is in the here the macros use. Set video mode is for the set video mode. The clear screen macro is from move AX CLS macro, move AX to int 10H is, which is also set video mode, is to clear the screen. Another macro used is for the drawing of the pixels. Let's get back to the code. The draw title out and outlines and text, which is draw H bar, draw P bar, and draw H bar, which can be viewed here. The right string T1 T2 is another macros used for the writing of the display of this part of the game, in the main screen. The TryOut is I previously discussed. The right string str start, right string str guide, and right string str board, and the right string str exit. This one. This will define the color and their position and text. And another draw H bar for bordering. Now for the animation of the 4 arrows on the screen, the main screen. Then the macro show mouse, the mouse, hide mouse pointer to avoid pixel corruption. The loop for these 4 arrows is this one. Call loop main In this call loop main, we'll check for the delay and getting the mouse click info, and get run for the randomize so that the arrow shows are randomized and their color. Now if CMP arrow order is 0, then J is UUP, this one, and move SI arrow order, then jump to TTP, and so on. If the arrow order is this. Now I will discuss the mouse function in the main screen, specifically in this part. So, show mouse for the macro. Move AX3 will get move AX3 in 33H. We'll get the status of the mouse. If it is left click or right click, and it is in hover at the following buttons. For if it is equal to 1, then TryOut is selected, equal to 2 game guide, then scoreboard is selected, hover is equal to 3, and else exit. Now for the start TryOut, call ID difficulty, which is in the game program here, and we'll show that this part, show difficulty. Next is the start game guide. We'll call the iGame guide, game guide screen, which is here, will be discussed later. And when in start, top score is for the move game mode. Exit button pointer. In E, which is in the exit button pointer, score button, board button pointer, this pointer here, and so on, game guide button pointer, similar function, similar codes. Next is the game guide screen, which is this part. So, move is hover, 0, hide mouse. When, then, again, draw game, we call draw game guide. Draw game guide pro is the draw game guide GUI. The draw block screen, then it will be called for the background color and top bottom design. Yes. Move Y start 105. Y arrow start coordinates, and move X start 50 is for the X. Now it will call the design, the GUI for the arrows is yellow for the first one, and their correspond their direction up. Next is yellow, then right, down, and red, and so on. Now for the time bar, we'll call for the draw H bar here, the multiplier bar, and for the right level, which is initialized in the previous, which is always initialized as at 1, and score right string like car 0, total score acquired, then right guide and controls is in the data, then call loop guide to finish the loop for the game guide. Now for the mouse function in the game guide. Show mouse, X or PXDX for the show mouse macro. Whenever the pixel of the yellow arrow, first yellow arrow 2, and so on. So when the mouse is at, for example, yellow arrow 2, here, compare CX to 40 with, which is the pixel of the arrow, and if it is in it is over there, then it will show the different definition, the meaning of why it is colored yellow. Until yellow arrow 10 and all other selections for the game guide.
Let's jump into the game here. So when we click the tryout button here, it shows us choose difficulty screen, which is this procedure, high difficulty procedure. We initialize the variable is hover to 0, then call draw difficulty. Then as you notice here, the draw difficulty procedure, we hide the mouse first before drawing some pixels on the screen because we want to hide it and before drawing some pixels, because um, if the mouse pointer is shown on the screen while it's drawing some pixels will be corrupted if you try it. So therefore, when you point here, there's no corruption of the pixels, so it highlights only the word, and the pointer is only on the top. So reset mouse and then show mouse. Then we call the procedure for getting the keyboard buffer and the mouse click. For the key diff, we just need to get if the users presses the escape key, or else it just loops. Then get mouse click diff. This procedure contains the information of the mouse pointer, the position, so that if you click on easy, normal, hard, or hell, it will proceed to the game here. If you click on TryOut easy, game mode will be set to 1 and the counter speed to 2, then hides the mouse, then call iGame. Speed of the timer, CTR speed is the speed of the timer. It is also the smoothness, defines the smoothness of the animation of the timer and the multiplier. So here, compare CX and compare DX is the range of the element. For example, this easy text here, the range of CX is, this is the help button pointer. So for example, in the help button, the range is CX 285 to 345 and DX 150 to 160. CX is the column, column, and DX is the row. So there, when you point at it, it highlights only the hell text, and then same for the others. Next, in the iGame procedure, so after you click on one, it shows this interface and starts. You can start the game. Okay, so the timer runs out. It will show the game over screen. Okay. Next, when we call this procedure, we initialize some variables here. What arrow and this store level. We cleared the content of the store level. Then we call the draw game to draw the interface of the game. And then the loop game procedure. This is for the loop. It waits for it gets the keyboard buffer, keyboard strokes that the user presses, and we don't. Next, change timer color as a procedure when as the timer reaches its maximum. As you can see here, the color changes from green to light red to red there. And then next, wait for spacebar. When the player hits the 10 arrows, it will call this procedure. If the player presses the space key or the escape key, 39H is the keyboard scan code for the space, and 1H for escape key. Next, so here in key game, it checks for the player key presses, whether it's R up, down, right, or left, or escape key here. So if the player presses escape key, it jumps to game over. Otherwise, we call some procedures or some function, some codes here. So okay, draw game, set arrows XYZ. So set arrows XYZ, it just draws the random 10 arrows on the screen, and the procedure rand arrow generates the random arrows where we use service function 2ch interrupt 21h. It gets also the system time, and it stores the lower order to dx. Then we move the content of dx to ax. Then we clear the content of dx. Then move cx5. We divide the content of ax by 5, and the remainder will be stored in dl. So if dl is 1, 2, 3, or 4, we store that into the array here, as you can see, so that the generated random numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the array will be converted into arrows. So next, show complement just outputs the poor, good, great, perfect when the player hits the spacebar. For example, here. So I press the space here. You hit 2 times score, great, perfect. It shows perfect if you hit all the 10 arrows correctly, like that. So when I press the escape key, it shows game over. Next, clear complement. It just clears the previous complement of the screen using right string and 0h, as you can see. So we use black color here. And show game over procedure, we use custom delay macro, as you can see here. Here, GAME over custom delay 10. We use set cursor position to specify where the letter G will be outputted. Next, we use draw H bar and draw V bar here for the interface here, what you see in the game. Next, outputs the str. Your score is 35. You reach level 4, and please enter your name. Next, out hex to BCD. As you recall earlier, it just converts the hex into BCD and outputs it. As you can see, your score is 35. We use also set cursor position so that we can specify where it will output the BCD. Next, prompt pname. Okay, after drawing the interface, it prompts for the player name, and the name will be stored in the variable pl name, and we can only input alphanumeric characters, as you can see here. And if it presses 13 or the enter key, or 8h is the backspace, it processes. When the player presses the enter key, it proceeds to the save function. If the player presses the backspace key here, it just deletes the last letter that you have inputted. Then after inputting it, we press space here. Then we go back to the main screen. As you can see here, prompt name. So after that, after pressing the enter key, it calls the update top scores procedure. Here we use the file operations. First, it compares what the player is playing, what player mode is playing. Even either it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Next, I open the file using open file macro with parameter the file name of the file. Then, if its carry is positive or 1, it jumps into open error 1. This means that the file does not exist, so that you will write a new one, and then the current player, his score will be the top one here using the write into file macro. There, then we write some zero scores here, 9. Okay, after that we need to close the file handler so that it will save in the folder where you want to save it. Next, so here this part of the code just checks the player score whenever, for example, this is the content of the EC top 10 scores. As you can see, we have 4 here, top 4, and the game. This part, this is the score in hexadecimal. This part is the level in decimal. So we call get score hex here. First, when the file is available and it has contents in it, we call this procedure. We use string manipulation to copy that content to the buffer. So there, top 0, this is where we get the first line of the file. That's why we have 29 in CX here. That means that there is 29 characters in one line. So next, 29 again for top 1, top 2, and so on. After getting each line, we call this procedure get score hex, because top 0 already have the first line here, for example, and then this procedure gets the score in hex, so it just gets this part of the line. So we add SI20 here to start the positioning here, and CX to 5. We get 5 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, using move SW string manipulation. Then next, after getting the scores, the player, it will compare if the score of the player is able to get to top 10, or it's to process the top 1, top 2, or top 3 here. So we use compare compare here. We have the score in hex now, and then the total score is the current total score of the player, and it compares if it is above the score of the player 1 or the top 1. And then if it's true, we jump here and then write his name on the top, and then write the remaining top 9 here, top 10 here. So the top 9 will be called out. Alright, draw top scores. So just draw the top scores, this interface here. Next, the last part of the code, these are the algorithms for drawing the arrows up, down, right, and left. As you can see, we use hide mouse before drawing it to avoid corruption of pixels. Okay, and that's all. Thank you.